My favorite moment portraying Pocahontas was for the 10-year anniversary of the film. It was 2005, and I was in the front of Animal Kingdom, and they had set up this canoe, and they were playing this gorgeous music from the soundtrack. And it just, I remember being mobbed by people, swarmed by them, like body to body, and actually feeling afraid for myself because, you know, I don't know, I couldn't breathe. I got really claustrophobic. But it was wonderful, the love that the guests had for the Pocahontas character. Some other fun moments were when I had a Miko character. Sometimes they would give me a Miko, and that was a lot of fun because then I got to play off of Miko, and he would act mischievous and naughty, and like stealing things out of people's backpacks, and I would have to scold him, and you know, and so that was interesting. And sometimes I was Pocahontas at Magic Kingdom, sometimes I was Pocahontas at Animal Kingdom, but mostly I was Pocahontas at Animal Kingdom. And Animal Kingdom, I'm gonna be honest, it was my least favorite of all the theme parks at Disney to work at. The parking situation for the cast members is more challenging. You literally have to ride a bicycle to get from the parking lot to where the costume building is. And I'm not kidding, Disney actually provides bicycles for you to ride. And so I had to, it was just, every morning I was getting an exercise bike ride, which was good for me, I guess. But so that was interesting. And also at Animal Kingdom as Pocahontas, I was one of the very few face characters. The only other face characters at Animal Kingdom performed in shows. And so I was alone a lot of times by myself in the cosmetology room, just putting on my makeup by myself. I had none of the other princesses like Cinderella's or Ariel's or anybody to chat with me, so it was lonely. And then, you know, it could be awkward with some of the fur characters. If they didn't know you, they have their ideas of who you are because you're a face character. So, you know, you have to, as a face character, you have to be above and beyond friendly, or else people can assume wrong things about you that just aren't true. And unless they know you, you know, of course, if they don't know you. One of my favorite moments with a fur character at Animal Kingdom was this girl who, she didn't look like any of the Disney princesses, but she looked exactly like Natalie Portman, the girl who plays Queen Amidala in Star Wars. And then when we got Star Wars weekend and they needed Queen Amidala, she got cast like that to be Queen Amidala. And I remember being so excited with her to get cast to be Queen Amidala, and it was like a no-brainer when you looked at her. She was Natalie Portman, and you know, they made her Queen Amidala, so that was really fun. Also at Animal Kingdom, I remember the workers where I was at Rafiki's Planet Watch a lot. Now they've moved Pocahontas's location somewhere else, but at Rafiki's Planet Watch you had all these you had a lot of college program kids who were very into zoology and animals, and you know, that's what they were studying, and they wanted to work with animals and everything. And I remember in the cafeteria seeing them, and they would always kind of look at me snobbily, like they didn't even talk, like I don't know. And I wanted so badly to be friends with some of these people. I wanted to get along with anybody around me. I would sit by myself a lot at Animal Kingdom, versus at Magic Kingdom, if you were to sit at a table as Princess Jasmine, like people would come up to you and want to sit with you and ask if they could sit with you. But at Animal Kingdom, nobody asked to sit with me, so I was very lonely a lot of times over there, and I didn't know a lot of people because I wasn't Pocahontas very often. I was more often Princess Jasmine. So when I did go to Animal Kingdom, it was kind of like, oh, I don't really know anybody here. It was kind of lonely. But I just remember wanting to chat or get along with these zoology people or whatever it was they were studying animals. I had seen a special on TV on this extinct creature, the Tasmanian tiger, and it was a real species, and it's now extinct. But I remember telling them about it, and they laughed at me, and they were like, you know, you're probably, like, they treated me like I was an airhead, and they told me that I was falling for anything that I saw on TV. But I quickly went to the computer lab and researched it, and went to like legitimate schools and colleges or whatever, some like legitimate websites to confirm that the Tasmanian tiger had indeed existed. And I printed it all out and showed it to them, and they were like, oh, it is real. Oh, okay, we thought you were just stupid. And it's like, really? Like, people were really mean. So it was hard to make friends. I think maybe I tried too hard. I don't know. Maybe because I was in a wig and makeup, I don't know. So those are things that, you know, you're going to encounter mean people who aren't going to understand what you do or who you are. And so you just, you know, like, I always kind of felt like the people at Animal Kingdom were a little bit more grumpy than they were at places like Magic Kingdom. Epcot was my favorite. I loved the attitude of a lot of the people. I loved the international people from different countries, and so I was so excited to be there and excited to meet them. So, so for me, being Princess Jasmine, it was just so much more comfortable because of the theme park that I was at, the people that I was around, the characters that I would work with. But Pocahontas, when you were Pocahontas, you had to stand a certain way. You had to stand tall. You had to kind of have your arms spread out. Your posture had to be really on point as Pocahontas. And with Princess Jasmine, like, she often had her hand on her hip. These were differences. And so if you are cast to be multiple princesses, you'll probably have leanings towards one princess or another. It just depends on, your personality and everything. And also, Pocahontas was also more challenging because she was an actual real person. I can't tell you how many kids came up to me and told me, I went to Jamestown. Oh, we're studying you in class right now. And it kind of, for me, it kind of was like, okay, you're ruining it right now. You're ruining the magic. This is a Disney character. She's not she is a real person though. And so, Disney, Disney provides you with a lot of paperwork and, to read, and historical facts and things you need to know about Pocahontas. Like, I don't know, October 4th, 1609, John Smith sailed for England on the Falcon for medical treatment. He never returned to Jamestown. Soon after, Smith departed and war began between the colonists and the Powhatans. Things like that Disney wants you to know so that when guests come and drill you, you're ready. So it was challenging. There was a lot to remember with Pocahontas, and with Princess Jasmine, I didn't have to worry about any of that. I could make it up as I went along, so. And then you had to know about her tribe. To say hello as Pocahontas, you would say Wingapo, and you would also move your arm in a manner like this. I'm trying to keep my hello in frame. And then to say goodbye in the Powhatan language, you would say Ana. And so then when I would say Wingapo to people, I would have to say, that means hello. So you would literally have to translate for people. And, and often, so many times I had little kids come up to me and say, you don't look like Pocahontas. Because Pocahontas, like I said, and that's why I tell girls who have a more ethnic background, who have that Hawaiian or that Filipino or whatever an actual Native American person, to go to the auditions so that we won't have little children telling the Pocahontas character that they don't look like Pocahontas. So it just, it makes it more believable if the girls actually look like the face characters. But, I was the best that they could do at the time, I guess. So they were forced to work with me. But, things that I would say whenever kids did tell me that I didn't really look like Pocahontas, if you were drawn into a cartoon, you would also look different. So how did I talk as Pocahontas? Wingapo, my name is Pocahontas. What tribe are you from? Did you come here on a canoe? Oh, you came on a plane. Oh, you mean the big bird in the sky. Like things like crazy things like that are what I used to say. And Disney would also give you ideas for things to say. Like if you had kids whose shoes would light up, one thing that you could say to them would be, are those fireflies in your shoes? Things like that. So I always told people that I traveled to Disney World that morning in a canoe from Jamestown, and kids would always give me the weirdest looks. And I did one time work with the enemy of Pocahontas, Governor Ratcliffe, and he was a very scary fur character. And so I remember thinking he was very scary, and whoever portrayed him, I forget who it was, but they acted very mean in his character, which is what they were supposed to do because he is a villain. But it was the most awkward thing. And I think I would say things like, I don't care for him very much. A lot of folding of the arms and just, walking away or sticking my nose in the air or whatever. One of the hardest parts about portraying Pocahontas was also when I was at Magic Kingdom once, and a guest screamed out at me and said, "You're a savage." But I don't know, and when they called me a savage like that, and they were so mean and I think it must have been some teenager or something, but they were so mean about it. And I just, and you take on the character when you're performing them in the parks, and I just remember the pain and the anger that I felt. And one of the things that you learn when you're a character at Disney is the feeling of anger. That emotion, it does not exist for you. Disney does not want you to ever express anger. But I remember inside feeling anger and having to keep the smile on my face for the children who are around me, because you have to keep that magic going. But to hear a guest scream savage, it made me so angry. Like, don't you know that that's like a racist type thing? You know, why would you say that to Pocahontas? That was something, I mean, they said it in the movie, yes, but you know, it was also kind of trying to depict the history. You know, you as a guest, you don't scream savage at, I don't know, I took it just really hurt, because I had not ever experienced really somebody saying a derogatory mark like that towards me in my real personal life. But to hear it from a character's perspective, it just, savage is not, I don't know, maybe I took on that character a little too strong. Are you okay, baby girl? Okay, my little girl is like carrying her snacks around, bumping into the table here. But I just remember feeling like that was a very unnecessary thing to say, and it was very mean-spirited, and I hated it, and so, you know, I guess, you know, you experience the pain of what it must have felt like to be called a savage, and it was just an awful feeling. So that was one of the hardest things. I experienced a lot more sexual harassment type activity against me as Pocahontas as well, much more than I ever did as Princess Jasmine. You know, as Princess Jasmine, because she was kind of showing off her body somewhat, it was kind of a funny joke or whatever. Wives would often send their husbands to get a picture with me, so I took so many pictures as Princess Jasmine with husbands, and like 99% of the time the wife was the one pushing her husband on me. So it was just something really funny, and you know, it was lighthearted, it was all humorous. But as Pocahontas, I don't even really want to go too in depth and talk about the looks that the men gave me or the actions or things that were said or done. I just experienced it much stronger as Pocahontas, and it was probably also because I did not have an Aladdin with me. Maybe it was the short skirt, maybe it was the long hair, I don't know. My hair was very long and cool. That was one thing. Pocahontas had the #1 best wig at Disney World, hands down. I loved that hair, it was gorgeous. But I did experience a lot more male attention that I did not like. It made my skin crawl, the way men would look at me in Pocahontas. So anyway, I don't want to go too much into it. It's just, that was very difficult. Thank God my husband was the type who, he didn't really even like meeting characters. It's not his thing. So he did meet them because of me. Like, he would get in line if I was the character, but he himself didn't care to meet princesses, so I always kind of felt better. I definitely have a lot more fun memories portraying Pocahontas at Magic Kingdom, because I was able to be around a lot more characters and friends. The day always goes faster when you have friends around you. A lot of people have asked me about the tattoo that I used to wear as Pocahontas, and it was this extremely high quality press-on tattoo. Like, it would come like on a sheet, and I would wrap it around my arm, and I would wet it, and it would come off with the water, and I would peel off the back of the tattoo, like the paper part, and I would be left with this awesome Powhatan tribe tattoo, and it would stay on all day. Like, it would not budge. This thing was mega high quality. I don't even know what they used, but I had to use lanolin to remove it at the end of the night. Nothing would take it off, not rain, not trying to rub it off with soap. You had to use lanolin to remove it. I remember the makeup for Pocahontas being a lot more natural than any of the other princess makeup in general that I can think of. Just about all the other girls had like some kind of brightly colored eyeshadow or brightly colored lips and cheeks, but as Pocahontas it was a lot of neutral, earthy tones. I did a video on the Pocahontas makeup in my channel, so definitely check that out. I'll link it in the description box below. I will say about Animal Kingdom has the best food of all the parks, in my memory. I don't know if it's still that way, but in my opinion they had an awesome salad bar, so that is one reason to love Animal Kingdom. Although everyone I talked to who was a fur character at Animal Kingdom told me that they loved it, that was their favorite park to work at. So I don't know, maybe fur characters have a better experience at Animal Kingdom. You know, it's just personality types, and you know, it is what it is. They're very strict at Animal Kingdom. They're very stickler for the rules. And I think I've said I was a little bit rebellious as a character. So shame on me for that. Shame on me. I definitely want to encourage girls who think that they can portray Pocahontas and do a better job of it than I can even. I definitely want to encourage you girls to go audition. Definitely be studying the Pocahontas character. Know the real life Pocahontas and also know the Disney Pocahontas. A lot of people used to ask me about John Smith. Where's John Smith? John Smith is exploring new lands. If they asked me about John Rolfe, I would say, John Rolfe is in England right now. I will join him later. You know, something like that. And thank God that Disney made Pocahontas Part 2, because in Pocahontas Part 2, that is the movie where you finally see Pocahontas getting involved with John Rolfe, which was her real life true love. John Rolfe is who she married and had a child with, and so that movie has the romance of Pocahontas and John Rolfe. So definitely check that movie out, watch it. I love that movie. I like it better almost than the first movie. But yeah, I'm really glad that Disney made that, because so many kids said to me, you know, why in your movie do you get with John Smith? In real life, you married John Rolfe. Well, that's when I would say, go watch Pocahontas Part 2. I didn't say it like that. I would say, oh, well, have you seen Pocahontas Part 2? You know, and then they were like, no. And then I would say, well, you need to watch it, and you will see the romance of John Rolfe and I in that movie. And so then they were like, oh. You know, I was always directing guests to go and watch the Part 2s of Aladdin and Jasmine and Pocahontas, because there was so much more information that was given about the characters in those films that, you know, would answer a lot of questions for guests. So definitely go check out Part 2s of all the princesses. You know, whenever I would see little girls with braided hair, I used to always say, oh, Miko loves to braid my hair. Who braids your hair? You know, things like that. And whenever I saw someone with a beautiful necklace, I would always point that out and say something like, oh, that's such a beautiful necklace. Who gave it to you? My mother gave me mine. You know, things like that. If I saw kids with those little press-on tattoos, I was always quick to say, is that your tribal marking? This is my Powhatan tribal marking. You know, Pocahontas died of smallpox and pneumonia. Thank God nobody ever asked me, like, why aren't you dead right now? I don't know what I would have said if somebody would have asked me that. I probably would have said something like, oh, Disney magic keeps me alive, or keeps my spirit alive, or something is probably what I would have said. But thank God nobody was that mean and said anything about my being dead or anything. Pocahontas, even though she loved the environment very much, we were not to talk about the environment or global issues like global warming or anything like that. It was not our place to educate guests on the environment and what our beliefs were. So those were topics to avoid, because environmental issues can be very political, and so we were told to stay away from those types of topics. So, you know, conversation was always super light and very general and just fun, and it was just about giving guests good memories. At the end of my time at Disney, I mostly just did Princess Jasmine. I stopped the last few years doing Pocahontas. I asked them not to cast me as Pocahontas anymore, and so I was not Pocahontas towards the end of my time at Disney. So it was just during my beginning time there. I just strongly preferred working at Epcot and Magic Kingdom, so, you know, I only wanted to be cast at those parks. But, you know, I'm really glad I had that experience to try and be somebody different other than Princess Jasmine. It was really nice to get a different perspective, and I was happy to portray her, and, you know, but again, but because I looked more like the Princess Jasmine character, I just felt more comfortable, and again, I had the Aladdin and, you know, all the rest of it that I talked about. Yeah, I do want to encourage girls who look more like Pocahontas to go audition. Yeah? Yeah? I don't think Ariana will look very much like Pocahontas when she grows up. but I strongly want to encourage girls who think that they could portray Pocahontas to definitely go audition, especially if you have a strong Pocahontas look. I totally support you, and I'm behind you, and I hope that you get cast as her. Definitely watch her movies, be knowledgeable about everything there is to know about Pocahontas. There's a lot of research you can do online about the real Pocahontas, which will be great, and you can integrate that into your performance. And also getting to know the Disney Pocahontas really, really well. Watching part 1, watching part 2, and learning all the characters and the stories, and just little catchphrases that she uses. If people asked me if I was in love with John Smith, something that I would say was, we walked the same path once, but now my heart beats like the drum for John Rolfe. Things like that, you know, that heart beating like the drum, that is a catchphrase from the movie, you know. So, you know, using little things like that. Did people ask me if I knew Sacagawea? Thank God, no. But if they would have asked, I probably would have said no. What tribe is she from? But yeah, every girl's experience at Disney is going to be unique, and it's going to be unique with the character that they portrayed, or characters that they portray, or roles, whatever they do. I mean, there could be another girl who also does Princess Jasmine and Pocahontas, but just prefers to be Pocahontas, and she enjoys that role more, and maybe her personality is more suited to that character. So it just depends. And I hope I answered the majority of your questions or things that you wanted to know. If I didn't answer your question, or you still are wondering about certain things, then by all means leave questions down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Maybe I'll do a second video. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I have to say that as my audience has grown, and you guys are like, I'm almost up to 8,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to my thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel. I know I don't even know what to say, so thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And you guys have all been so great and so encouraging and so nice, and so I wish that I could work with you guys at Disney World. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos, and please share this video with whoever you think would appreciate it. Maybe consider sharing this video with a friend of yours who might look like Pocahontas and be able to portray her one day. So you never know. You never know if she will. I feel really blessed to have even been able to portray characters at all at Disney World, because I know not everybody gets to do it, and so I'm really thankful, and I really hope that you find these videos encouraging and that they help give you confidence to want to go and audition. I found that I really enjoyed doing some of the makeup and beauty videos, so if there's any type makeup or beauty videos you want to see me do down below, leave them in the comments and I'll try to do it. So